And here we are.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going, John?
I'm doing outstanding, Nick.
All right.
More important how you are, kind sir.
I'm I'm good. I'm busy. Um, life's busy. I just did a kids. One of my daughter did another citywide tournament this last weekend. That wrapped up yesterday, and yeah, her and her team, her third grade team, they fought hard, and they came home with some second place little trophy hardware. So
That's so
yeah,
beautiful. That's outstanding. Love it.
that's that's what I'm trying to hang on to there.
Oh
Um,
yeah, they're in second
all
place,
that,
but first place in all of our hearts.
yeah, and but all the positiveness of that, when there's a lot to say and how I'm doing, and that I think is the highlight. If I said one thing, that would be it. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm learning. I think I've mentioned before. I'm learning Welsh and Scottish Gaelic.
Uh huh.
Hi there, dear Corey.
Hello. Thanks for checking in.
Good to hear from you. Yeah, she says
And
hi, gentlemen. For those of you,
thank you for watching Disney movie on behalf of my granny. I quick update. Gosh, we couldn't have asked for a better outcome. The universe and spirit and everything was in her favor. She had a good outcome with her hospitalization, and yeah, so she's kind of getting back to herself and strength wise and out of the hospital. And my mother's still down there helping her. So thank you all for your thoughts, prayers, energy, everything you put into it. Watching a show in her honor, I appreciate every bit you guys did. Thank you.
isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, that's really sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Corey, you were the subject of our green room chat before we came on the air.
Yes.
Um, at your, we really appreciate you doing that. And then, secondly, um, with your approval, at some point, according to your timing, we'd like to get you on the air here talking about. You mentioned the Nag Hammadi Library. If you are launching into reading that and studying it, and if you're getting anything that's transformative to you, we'd like to hear about it and have you be the third person talking here. So anyway, I was saying, you said you're busy, and I'm now gotten to the point as I'm studying Welsh and I'm studying Scottish Gaelic. I'm now at the point I'm doing it like a half hour every day. I instantly translate into some of the words. So you said I'm busy. I'm like, oh, he's trying. Nick is trying. Trang means busy in Gaelic.
Ah, that's
Yeah,
cool. You got to throw a
yeah.
little Gaelic language lesson in there. I like that.
Yeah, we're bringing it all in here. I've got a
Yeah.
song. I've got a. We're gonna actually water. Mary brought home
Oh, there we go.
seeds. Mary brought home seeds in this little greenhouse. She went to the.
Oh yeah, a little terrarium thing. Yeah.
Yeah, she went to um, Dollar General or Dollar
Yeah.
Store or whichever one it's called, and brought home the seeds. I had the soil, and
Mhm.
she brought the terrarium and the seeds, and I planted them 2 or 3 days ago. But we're going to water it on the air today.
Cool. There we go.
Yeah, but Granny is doing okay.
Yes, Granny's good. So
Beautiful,
yeah,
and send our fondest regards to her.
I will. I will definitely. Yes, absolutely. I actually need to give her a call and my mother a call today to catch up on some things. So I will definitely.
They're both part of the show.
Well, combining, we bring them in.
Exactly.
We
That's
bring
it.
them all.
That's it. It's all entangled.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got 4 people watching right
Excellent.
now. I know that Mary is watching.
Okay.
We've got
Good.
Corey. We've got 2 other people. I don't know who they are. we're all entangled.
That's right.
Yeah, so beautiful. Well, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and water this as part of our class project.
Okay.
We have zinnia seeds in here.
Zinnia. Tell me about zinnia.
I don't know anything about them. They're
Oh,
flowers.
okay. Well,
They're
maybe one of our folks tuning in is into flowers and plants. So
Mary knows a lot about
there we go.
botany. She might be able to say something.
Nice.
But I like. It says on the packet. It says pollinator friendly.
Yes.
That scores points with me. I'm sure it scores
Absolutely.
points with you. It scores points with everybody.
Yeah.
Um, you got to be pollinator friendly now.
I agree. I don't know if I mentioned my mom. She doesn't do it as much, but she got pretty big into beekeeping. She still does keep bees, but
Oh,
she has to move from her property soon. So I think she's going to rehome them with some farming community and beekeeper community that she has in her area. So
we
yeah.
could get her on the air talking about beekeeping.
Oh
How?
my gosh, she would go on forever. She actually does the beekeeping exhibit at the county fair. She likes to go do that, and they bring frames and talk about beekeeping and pollinators in general. So she likes to educate and stuff on that. But yeah, she would. I'd I'd have to reel her in, give her a script because she would go on forever.
Oh
But
my
bless
gosh,
her
that is so great. That is so great. I would love to hear it. I really would.
yeah.
Not joking. All right, so we're pouring water in, and just so you know that it's. I mean, even the mug that we're using, you see preserve. Let me turn this so you can read it.
Preserve. Nice.
Nature. It
Nice.
says turn it this way. So it's Mequon, which is the town where I live.
Okay.
Mequon, nature,
Uh-huh.
preserve. It's a mug.
Oh,
It's a mug I bought there.
nice.
I hike over there.
I was gonna say, is that where you go for walks and hikes? Did you find a tree to hug there yet?
It's gonna be. That's where I'm gonna find it.
Okay.
I have not found it yet. I haven't been there since Thanksgiving
Okay.
because it's ice cold out here.
Yeah.
It's warm today. It's 53, and so we're coming to where I'm going to be back in there.
Yeah.
But I will, and then I'm going to shoot a episode from there.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
so I'm pouring water in. There you go. Water is poured in.
yeah.
What Catsup have to say?
Oh, she said she's glad my grandmother's better. Um, and then also, yeah, zinnia from the screwdriver. But we will learn about a zinnia as it grows. That's the beauty of it.
I thought you knew, honey. That's Mary talking there.
Yeah.
She doesn't know. She doesn't know Xenia from a screwdriver. Well, if a screwdriver comes up through the soil, we'll all be shocked.
I'll ask my brother. He's got a really good green thumb and he's got flowers growing. So I'm sure he's got zinnia around his plot.
This is getting better and better. We could
Yeah.
have him on there. We could have your mom on talking about bees, and then if it gets overwhelming, then we could say, "Very nice." Now,
Yeah.
brother, tell us about zinnias.
Oh, I just looked up a zinnia plant and they do look pretty. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Got a little bit of a dahlia / daisy look to them. So, yeah.
Okay. I brought a song along. I'm not
All
just
right.
not losing interest in you. I'm pulling up a song.
Okay.
Song of the week. We go with either a song or a poem.
Okay.
Now, when I did Mahalia Jackson, was it too loud or too soft? Or
I think it was too much feedback. Not necessarily either. And I think it may be a little bit of distance from microphone and compensate with a little bit of distance. I'm trying to think here. You can adjust the sound, but also get less feedback, maybe the farther from your microphone. That's
Pull
my
it back a little bit because it was
yeah.
about here.
Pull back a little bit, and then we'll, rather than adjust what we hear by proximity, we'll adjust the volume but keep distance so we don't have feedback.
Okay, we'll do it. And I'm going to
All
do
right.
an introduction.
Okay.
Back in the civil rights movement, there were a handful of anthems that really stood out.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Dylan, The Times They Were Changing, and Blowing in the Wind, both. Uh, Sam Cooke, A Change is Going to Come.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're going to hear today.
Okay.
Harry Belafonte did some things. I can't even tell you what he did. All right. So, do you want to hear it? A Change is Going to Come?
I
Have you ever
do.
heard it before?
I do. Once I hear it, I'll probably sound familiar, but I can't pull it in my head just off the name and artist, to be honest.
Yeah. R&B. I think of him as the greatest R&B singer of all time. And if somebody said no, it's Marvin Gaye, I couldn't argue. But
Yeah.
the two of them. All right, here we go.
Okay.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and
Oh,
just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Then I go to my brother and I say, brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Lord, there've been times that I thought I could last for long, but now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know change won't come. Oh, yes it will.
Beautiful.
yeah. Isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I pulled up the lyrics while we were playing that there. Um, yeah, it, I think we talked about this when you played Mahalia Jackson as well, and how it's 70 years, and yet some of these themes we still have. We have these anthems. We have these messages through poetry, music, whatever arts that just continue to be recurring themes. Um, and yeah, right now I think there's a place that these songs just they touch, and it's unfortunate and also a beautiful thing that we have art and we have messaging from inspiring people through difficult or hard times. Um, what stuck out with me, and that's why I pulled the lyrics up, is that when I say "Brother, help me, please," but ends up knocking me down,
Yeah.
and I feel like there's so much of that happening right now, in how divisive our American community especially is. Um, and yeah, it couldn't be more true. Hearing people just choosing to spew insults, belittle versus show some compassion towards people who might be affected negatively by some of the things that are happening in our country right now. So yeah, but
Hmm. I like Joan Baez referred to this song and a handful of other such songs as the arsenal of the nonviolent movement, the poetic arsenal. You
yeah,
know, we're not pulling out guns to shoot people, but we've
yeah,
got it's kind of like soul force,
right, right.
soul force.
Couple comments here from reactions to the song today. Um, it inspires a sense of the holy or the broken. Hallelujah. Yeah, the long journey
Wow.
home. Interesting. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, the long journey home.
Yeah,
Good, good. The holy or the broken hallelujah. I like that. That's
yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
And we have another comment here. Yeah, as a woman, I have to say Sam is more hopeful than I. Yeah, and that's what's interesting with poetry, with music, art forms during these times, people's difficult times. But I just, yeah, and I think that's the whole point, is that when hope is hard to find, that there are these art history lessons. I mean, 70 years old, 70 years and still remains relevant. Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, it's true. Sam is more hopeful than I. Yep, I hear you, hon. I hear you. Yeah, Mary and I have been talking at length about
hope.
the horrors that women are have been subjected to historically, and it's how badly it's resurfaced
Yeah.
of late.
Yeah. Um, I, I mean, on that note, I know we have a subject matter for today, and we'll get there. And I've talked about this in my own circle, in my own local way, family, therapy, coworkers, but that hope is a little, without being too, sensational or catastrophizing or anything like that. But I don't know how to hope right now, what I'm hoping
Yeah.
for, and where to place my hopeful energy. Yeah. Um, and I think you talked about before, and I've actually seen it come up more since you mentioned it, is 5 calls. Was that the
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah? So that keeps coming up a lot more, and I think more and more people are picking up the call to action, and I mean that from both sides of politics that I'm hearing. More and
Yeah.
more people calling and letting their representatives know that they're not okay with what's happening.
40 times the call volume of normal
Yeah,
is going on right now. And then these town halls,
yeah, yeah,
you know.
yeah. We need brothers and sisters from every walk of life, every discipline, every religion, every political view to just say, hey, look, there's things called human rights that supersede some of these alliances we've made. So yeah, but
Mhm.
on that note, how do you feel about you had a subject matter for today? Kind of,
I have a subject matter.
yeah.
Yeah, Tim Snyder, the book called On Tyranny. And usually I can hold up the book, but I listened to it on audio twice.
Mm.
So I can't
Well,
hold up a
we'll
copy of the book to
we'll
show
do a
you.
little. We'll do a little. There we go.
Oh, boy, are you on point?
We'll do the digital version of that. And I mentioned to John that if you guys want to check it out, Timothy Snyder's website, I'll put it in the chat here. But we will do our best at any time to share an individual's source as close to possible, and then you can decide from there if you want to follow their link to whatever organization fits your ethical alignment. So
Right.
there we go.
The #1 New York Times bestseller,
Yeah.
2024. I knew about it through all of 2024. Well, I think all of it.
Mm-hmm.
At least a year ago, I was aware of it, and yet I never read it.
Okay.
And so finally, I don't know if you're doing the same thing as I am. I'm watching the news and I'm just like, holy shit. These
Yeah.
are, this is the worst um, threat to American civilization, at least since the Civil War,
Yeah.
if not ever,
Yeah.
you know. Um, and so, but our hands aren't tied, I don't think. What can we do?
Right.
I'm always thinking about that. I'm thinking about it 10 hours a day. Although I'm going to tell you, did I tell you this last time that I have decided to have 2 Sabbath days every week?
Yeah, we talked about that. I was trying to do that this weekend, and then there was some sort of message that came out Saturday that affected me.
Right, right.
um, and I yeah,
I'm
and
listening to Sinatra. I'm listening to Ray Charles. I'm listening to Ella
yeah,
Fitzgerald and Miles Davis and Willie Nelson. I'm
nice.
meditating a little longer,
Okay.
etc. Um, and it's kind of taking on its own life.
Hmm.
These breaks from it. It's like, this is really good.
Yeah.
Um, I think this week I only did one, just because the news is so
Hmm.
throbbing in our face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but anyway, Timothy Snyder. So he's a Yale professor. He's a
Okay.
student of 20th century history. He's perfect for the times that we're in the sense that studied Hitler, studied Mussolini,
Hmm.
studied Stalin in depth, just like Ruth Ben-Ghiat that we've quoted
Oh yeah.
uh, in the past. You know, but
Hmm.
how do we react to it? What are some grounding principles that we can do to help us not just despair and not just collapse, but also um, be a real resistance?
Yeah.
And he's come up with 20 points that were successful in the past, and some of them are familiar um, because they were already in the presentation that we did previously
Okay.
from that guy on nonviolent
Yeah. Yeah.
resistance.
Hmm.
So it would be a reminder of them. but a lot of them is new stuff. So I wanted to share this with you, and I think because we're 25 minutes in and we're just starting in on the 20th, this is a 2 episode presentation.
Okay.
And then the third week, 4 weeks from now,
Mm-hmm.
I want to do a reading of Martin Luther King Jr.'s Letter from a Birmingham Jail.
Okay.
And that will be our session for that week.
Okay.
I once read it as part of a sermon in a church, and holy cow, did it throw some nerve endings off.
Oh, okay.
It was great. I mean, people were ecstatic with it, and there was a handful of people were slinking off into the night.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here's the 20 points. Do not obey in advance. We're going to read these 20, and then we're going to go back through. 2, defend institutions. 3, beware the one-party state. 4, take responsibility for the face of the world. 5, remember professional ethics. 6, beware of paramilitaries. 7, be reflective if you must carry a gun. 8, stand out. 9, be kind to our language. 10, believe in truth. 11, investigate. 12, make eye contact and small talk. 13, practice corporeal politics. Where's 14? There it is. 14, establish a private life. 15, contribute to good causes. 16, learn from peers in other countries. 17, listen for dangerous words. 18, be calm when the unthinkable strikes or arrives. Be calm when the unthinkable arrives. 19, be a patriot. 20, be ready to lay down your life. And then there's also, we'll go back through this, but I also skipped something. I wanted to do the introduction. He says, what is tyranny? It's the circumvention of law by rulers for their own benefit, the usurpation of power by a single individual or group. And then Aristotle, way back before the time of Jesus, said, I think that was the 4th century BC, inequality brings instability. So, thoughtful one, you always have very, very bright and intelligent feedback. What's your bright and intelligent feedback today?
Well, I definitely am interested in getting into a little bit of those. Because there's 20, it's hard to remember all of them, but there were a few that give me pause.
Yeah.
Because of the way which, here's what I can say. Part of the divisiveness is that I hear on one side people, we're against fascism, authoritarianism, and then another side that says we're against communism and socialism. And I can see the viewpoints of each side, all both saying, "Oh, I read this, or I'm studying this on tyranny, and here's how it applies to my view, my stance, my position." So that's where I get a little bit of pause with it, because I can see where the people who well-intentioned, thoughtfulness are associating socialism and communism with some of these other existential threats that have been mentioned in history. And that's always what I worry about when I see the two sides that use these arguments or use these defenses. But and also what I heard in some of those responses was just how to be respectful and treat each other with dignity, and to value equality as well. So there's some parts where I can see being, well, this fits my narrative, and then there's some where it's like, yeah, that fits your narrative, but you still need to be a good person. You still need to be a good human being, even though you think you're fighting for what is a just cause, and you believe certain rights and protections you stand behind. But I don't know.
Well, I'm 100% with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everything you just said.
Yeah.
That one way you could say what you just said is it cuts both ways.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tyranny can be the usurpation of power
Yeah.
by the left or the right, the right or the left.
Right. And just for example, I don't want to discount that there are people in our country who genuinely and wholeheartedly, good person, felt like the Obama era was tyranny. Like even today, you'll still hear them say that. I don't. I didn't see it in their lens the same way, but I'm seeing tyranny in my lens right now. So that's the whole point, is that I don't think people their eye of the beholder, and to your point, it cuts both ways. So this could just as easily be construed or taken in by those of the opposite, or the faction right now, as a call to respond, a call to act, because this is what they see as their solution. And I think that's what troubles me. I think that's where I start to challenge hope. Is how do we get through to get to those of those 20, the ones that say, let's be better humans towards each other. So.
Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb here
Mm-hmm.
and say that those people who said that the Obama era was tyranny were wrong.
Yeah.
I knew
Yeah.
some of them, and
Yeah.
the reason they were thinking that was that they were getting their news from not only Fox but also Breitbart and Infowars, and people with an agenda, which was to undercut.
Yeah.
It's all undercut democracy. It's always really, really good to keep in mind the perspective that other people say, which
Right.
is what you're saying, and I 100% agree with it. And to be, but and to be respectful, but at the same time, wow, I mean,
Right.
Obama wasn't even that liberal. I mean, we're going to get into the politics.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. I know. I'm with you. Like that's, and I think that, and I again, I wonder if it's just a minority of views that that speak the loudest, in the social media, in communities or whatever. And so, yeah, I hate to say, that, but I guess that's one of my fears, is that it's like No, I'm fighting communism and socialism. No, I'm fighting fascism and authoritarianism. And it's like, well, I suppose from where you're standing from, you sound like you're doing this from the best intentions, but there's some of you that, how do we get through to see that it's, there's certain just basic human rights that you're missing.
Right.
Um, One thing I've learned in my years of what I consider self care, going to talk therapy, and one of the practices which I often have to remind myself to deploy is the use of and what I mean by that is you can you can agree with what your party, your community, or whatever you identify with, and you can also see other perspectives. It's
Yeah.
not, it's, so whenever I think of things, it's not all like, oh, you're being this, you're doing this. Well, yeah, you're doing this. And you also do care about, people. You do, whatever it is. So I just have to remind myself that there's a way where people can keep their values, their views, their whatever it is that they feel and whatever makes them tick. And they can be sensible and reasonable about other views.
Yeah.
Um, but how do we get there?
And one thing about what you're saying now, I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I greatly appreciate you saying it. And
Yeah,
as opposed to but,
right.
um, I see the tyranny is not. I'm not in at war with my next door neighbor,
Yeah.
Trumpian. I'm at war with um, Musk
Mm-hmm.
and Peter Thiel
Yeah.
and Trump, of course. And who are the other people? Stephen Miller.
Yeah.
There's this other guy that's just coming into my view now. He's, they're to the right of Project 2025.
Right. Yeah.
Curtis? Curtis? Have you heard of Curtis somebody? I mean, he wants to, they want to bring the government down
Right.
and then install in its place, a handful, 25 angry white men, billionaires
Yeah.
who have all power.
Right.
I don't have any moral relativism about my relationship with them. I'm not saying, well, I can see how you want to be
Oh,
who
yeah.
you
Yeah. I know. No.
are.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
they're the tyranny that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
and
go ahead.
and how did, but I guess to that point, to your point, what does it take to get those who may have, with the best intentions, installed such tyranny to see what is unfolding, what is really happening in front of them, in such a way that those who are, I mean, they're the and I again, there's the gaslighting of like, oh, you're, this Trump derangement syndrome. They're, oh, you're being hysterical, you're being this, like, oh,
You're
we
hearing the same
we're
stuff
really
I'm hearing.
concerned about the tyranny. We don't really care anymore. Like, it sucks that you were a part of whatever movement that installed this tyranny, and we just need you to come to your senses and realize this isn't okay. Yeah.
Uh, you know,
Yeah.
my attitude. It's like you and I are sitting here having a beer together right now,
Yeah.
and we don't have a bunch of people listening.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my attitude is that they approach it like they do. By they, this really does apply to both liberals and conservatives. Like it's warring football teams that you're
Yes.
cheering for, right
Yes.
or wrong. You're going to stay with your team.
Mm-hmm.
and they're in competition for power.
Yes.
But that will eventually, and I think it's starting to crack,
Mm-hmm.
because farmers are getting the shaft,
Right.
you know, because if they cut Medicaid and millions of MAGA supporters lose their Medicaid,
Right.
which means not only that they'll be unable to afford nursing homes, but also that there won't be any nursing homes to afford.
Right.
Hospice as an industry will be dead.
Right.
Um, and I'm just doing two things. What about when the FAA, as the um, plane crashes increase in volume?
Well,
When
and I'm a federal employee, so I tend not to get too far. But I'm a nurse that works for the Veterans Affairs. Like, and as soon as I'm off this call here, I have a deadline on my day off to put in overtime to write 5 bullet points at least about what I did in my job last week. So,
it applies to you, that
yeah.
must thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Or if you don't, you turn in your resignation.
Apparently, if you don't, you're basically fired. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's sobering to hear that it applies to you. I mean, I've heard this news, and I was just like, well,
Yeah.
and now it applies to you. You can't do that because you got to pay your mortgage.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I gotta clock in overtime
And then
just
there's
to fill out uh, to submit an email about what 5 contributions I made in my job last week. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and when enough MAGA people lose their job because they didn't do it, and they're like, "Well, I voted for you. Why are you firing me?"
Yeah.
That's when the I don't think we can change people's hearts and minds, but factual inconveniences, catastrophic inconveniences,
Yeah.
FEMA going away,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Um, I'm sure that Breitbart and them will try to spin it that it's liberals who are somehow responsible.
Right.
But eventually somebody in the MAGA community is going to whisper, right? We
Mm.
are being screwed from above.
Yeah. It's already happening.
Yes.
Yeah. It's already
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. When it lands in your sphere, in your close knit circle, you finally have to acknowledge that you don't, it doesn't feel right. And so it's going to take the numbers. It's going to take the hardship on enough people that it is two in everybody's face to ignore. Yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah.
this should be there very soon if it's not already there.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, well, yeah, I mean, I really think I'm interested to learn more about these 20 lessons from the 20th century on tyranny because of just what we were talking about. Everybody on the same playing field, seeing things for what they truly are. Um, and rather than it being, I'm fighting tyranny because this is what I see tyranny as I mentioned, that's what I worry, is that people think, well, it'll all be fine once we clean everything up. I mean, I keep hearing that in the media realms. Oh, this is just a reset. This is this, and it'll all be fine. Just watch, and I'm like, I don't think we can wait and watch and just let it all settle, see what the dust settles. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Stop the bleeding.
So I'm going to go ahead and talk about one part of the first one. Do not obey in advance, because there's an experiment that happened in Yale in 1961 that I want to talk about.
Do not obey and advance.
In advance.
Do not obey in advance. Okay.
Most of the power of authoritarianism is freely given. We offer ourselves without being asked. Anticipatory obedience is a political tragedy. Heedless acts of conformity. This is what I took down as my notes. I listened to it twice, and the second time through, it's only an hour and 45-minute book to listen to. So I was taking down notes feverishly. But at the end of that sort of good stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and my reaction to that so far, without telling this experiment, was like, okay, I'm going to have to be on the alert in my small little realm here.
Yeah.
How I might do this. I don't know how that would be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am scorching the phones with my senators and my congressmen. If I was to be more obsequious towards them, maybe that would be one thing. But
Right.
this Yale experiment, this guy tried to do it in, was it Russia or Germany? One or the other, and couldn't do it. He couldn't get the right controls for an experiment down in those settings. But in a Yale student classroom, he was able to do like a laboratory.
Okay.
And the experiment was this: invite 20 students in, and one by one,
Mm-hmm.
and give them a button that they're pushing. Stimulus of another person. So they're in one room and they're looking through a glass and they're looking at another person. And when they press the button, in the other room, there's a little beep that goes off telling them that the button's gone off. And they act as if they've been hurt by the button pushing. They haven't been. But the student subject of the experiment doesn't know that.
Okay.
So they press the button once and they see the person hurt. All right. The experiment master or boss tells them, do it a second time. So they do it a second time, and the actor portrays more pain than the first time.
Mm.
Third time, even more pain, significant pain. And this is an experiment of human obedience. They ask the fourth time, and the people are still pressing the button, even though they see that they're causing significant distress and suffering in the actors, who are not suffering at all, but
Right.
it keeps going. I think it goes up to like 7.
Mm-hmm.
And on the 7th one, the actors are acting as if they're knocked unconscious.
Wow.
And the experimenter says, thank you for doing this. I mean, much appreciate it. You can go now. And the people leave.
Mm-hmm.
All 20 students in Yale in 1961 continued to do it all the way through. Nobody said, oh, well, they're suffering too much. I can't do this. No. I got to drop out of this experiment. And not a single one of the 20 students, upon leaving, said, how are they doing? Are they okay? Because the actors are like laid out on the floor,
Right.
pretending to be semi-conscious. And everybody followed the directions. Nobody spoke up.
Hmm.
Similar experiment um, in a classroom. I don't know where this was. A, a teacher. They were taking a test, and the teacher said to one of the students, um, "You're cheating. I see you cheating right now." She's like, "No, no, I didn't cheat. No, 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 no." And she's been told in advance that this is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw that you're cheating. You can't tell me that you weren't. You're kicked out of the class. You get an F for the course, and you're kicked out of the class. And she had just been sitting there, hovered over her desk. You got to go right now. You got to leave right now.
Mm.
And she expresses great distress, pain. I'm innocent. I'm innocent. And she leaves, and none of the students speak out for her.
Mm.
Nobody afterwards. I could see if I was sitting there, I'd be like, "What?" But I would finish the exam, and then I would go, "I don't think that Susie cheated. That can't be right." I know I would do that because I spoke out on behalf of a couple of nurses that got canned when I was working with them, who
Mm-hmm.
clearly were excellent nurses, and it was an injustice.
Right.
And my bosses heard from me. I don't think they liked it, but I know that'd be my way. But um, all the students, just like in the first one experiment, were docile
Mm-hmm.
in this scenario. Did not speak out, did not redress the injustice,
Yeah.
did not question it. So it's calling us to do some serious uh, self examination, of, yeah, I can see that I would be respectful and kind towards my Trump voting neighbors. But if I'm
Mm-hmm.
dealing with Peter Thiel, this Curtis guy whose name I can't remember, J.D. Vance, Elon Musk, am I going to be obsequious? Am I going to be quiet? Or am I going to be one of the fierce, outspoken opponents?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So that is step one. Do not
Mm-hmm.
obey in advance. I loved anticipatory obedience is a political tragedy.
Yeah.
So, Mr.
Well,
Thoughtful, I'm going to
yeah.
start going. You
No,
was just,
that's no, that I appreciate that. I mean, within the first one of the 20 lessons, you've already touched upon exactly what I was saying. It's anticipatory obedience. And when I keep saying, what is it going to take? What is it going to take? Through these experiments, we've already seen that the human behavior, humans tend to just sort of play a passive part. Um, Even when faced with, wow, it's really unfortunate, or it really hurts to see, but they're telling me to keep pressing the button, so I'm going to keep pressing the button. Um, yeah, it's
what
just,
happens in the classroom when somebody has the temerity or the balls to say she wasn't cheating?
yeah. I mean, well, okay. So what are the motivations? And I think about this right now. If I go and say, turn in my paper or my test, and I say, I think you got that wrong. I was there right next to her. It didn't look like she was doing any cheating at all. I hope you reconsider that. Well, that's to me the right thing to do. And I really need to pass this class. And
Yeah.
I don't know what sort of retaliation the kind of person who's willing to call someone out on false charges is capable of. So there's this silence by fear, and I mean, it's literally happening right now on the show as I keep prefacing things I say in the last couple months. I have to remind I want to say more, but I'm a federal employee, so I got to be careful. I got to walk on eggshells. I I have a lot of feelings about everything going on, and yet I can only give a filtered version of it because of. I mean, it, we only have 4 live viewers, and I don't know how many after the fact. But if we had hundreds or thousands, or if this anywhere went viral, like I might be on a target of a termination letter.
Ooh, ooh.
Yeah. So there's silence of fear, you know. Um,
That really brings it home.
yeah. So how many federal employees feel like they can't speak their true mind and feeling about everything right now because they're they may be on the chopping block with the your performance has been inadequate to continue this employment with us. Like, yeah, interesting. I mean, we're already in this time of silencing people by fear.
We are.
Yeah. So,
Mm.
but in this experiment, I wish it was just an experiment, but in this life, this community,
Yeah.
this nation, um, I think these lessons learned from experiments like this in the '60s and civil rights. I think they continue to resonate with people. I think they've interfaced or reached enough people over decades to be the, you know, hey, you see something, you say something, you stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves. We have all these archetypes that have been deployed in media, literature, um, cartoons, even, you know, superheroes. I mean, you think of the Avengers, like this movement of defend and protect and stand up when something looks like it's going to a level. Um, I think it's, I mean, I don't like to use this word, but it's been sort of indoctrinated into everybody that is, hey, you don't, if somebody's beating on somebody in the street, you just don't walk by and say, that's not my problem. You intervene, you make a phone call, you act when something in the world doesn't look right. So I hope there's enough of that starts happening now.
Me
That,
too.
that we don't have every classmate pushing a button to perpetuate this harm on another person over and over again without questioning it.
Without question.
Yeah.
Well, Nic, I believe this has been one of our better podcasts.
I do too. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
you're
thank you
welcome.
for everybody who's tuning in or
We've only
watching.
been on one. We've only done one of the 20 episodes.
One of the 20 lessons from Timothy
Yeah.
Snyder. Yeah.
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 Next time we'll have to dash off 19.
We'll dash off and we'll jump into them. I think there'll be some overlap that, you know, we won't be too redundant on repeating ourselves with some of them, but yeah.
So good luck with your assignment from
my
Elon Musk.
my email of five contributions I made in my job last week. Yeah.
Do you have them?
I've thought about it in my head, but here's the funny thing. I have to clock in. So what I've tried not to do is to consume myself until I'm on the clock to think about this because
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
it's a job request. So I have I know it doesn't take me long to think about things I did last week. And yeah, I'm not worried. So
I'm sure you did 5 things.
yeah. So
And I will
thank
wait.
you, Pets Up. Thank you, Black Raven. We appreciate you checking in and tuning in with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we had 2 silent visitors.
Silent visitors. That could be anybody who isn't even logged into their YouTube account or whatever. So thank you all. And for anybody watching playback, like, subscribe, Catch us next time, and we
Like and
appreciate y'all.
subscribe, please.
Please.
Jigger the algorithms for us.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Thank you all. Thank you, John.
Thank you. Good to be with you.